Welcome to this talk series by Rishihood University on understanding leadership. We'll be breaking down leadership into practical aspects, the habits, the attitudes that everyone needs to know in life. And we have with us a very eminent personality, India's most popular leadership coach, Mr. Shiv Khera, with us today. And he says you can win, but let's find out who can win. What are the attitudes that we need to win and succeed, and especially relevant for today's young generation, the students. So namaste sir, thank you for giving us this privilege of hosting you at Rishihood University.
I'm grateful.
Thank you so much sir. I've been growing up reading your books from my father's library, those small colorful booklets, squarish booklets which had all the quotations, and of course you can win. And over the last few years, personally knowing you has been a great privilege. Every interaction with you has been such a learning experience for us.
I'm grateful, Sahil. Thanks a lot.
So thanks.
And what you people have created here, I think it's a great service to the nation by providing them the right kind of education and building new leaders.
Thank you so much, sir. On that, sir, you can win is a phrase which is synonymous with your name. Typically, we see you can win as a professional phrase, but what do you think it means for a college student? What does this winning mindset mean for a student in college?
Sahil, for that matter, it is not only the student. Of course, students have greater aspirations because they have the whole life ahead of them. And people, when they get to the middle age, or they go beyond a little bit, but we still are players. I mean, we have not retired, many people have, and even those who are called retired, they're doing something else somewhere, and they're still looking to win. Everybody is looking to win. But listen, important thing is, everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
But very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to win. I repeat one more time. Most people want to win, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to win. Let me just explain what it means. You see, Michael Phelps created history in 2008. Now, how many people know that 2 years prior to the Olympics he fractured his hand? Hardly any. And the doctor said you cannot get into the water anymore. And you are competing at the Olympics, not your neighborhood kids. But Michael Phelps was preparing for this event for a decade. He said, I will get into the water. I won't use my hands, I'll use my legs. He continued. And 4 years later, he created history at Beijing. And the interesting thing was that when he won the 8 gold medals, the press was there and they said to him, Mr. Phelps, must be a lucky day. When he heard those words, he didn't like it. He said, you come here, I'll tell you how lucky I got. He said, in the last 4 years, I have trained 10,000 hours. And if you're good at maths, that translates into 2,500 hours per year.
Wow.
And if you're good at calculus, that translates into 8 hours per day, no Sunday.
Yeah.
And he said to the man, you go sit in the water for 8 hours every day for the next 4 years, your body will shrivel. He said, luck is not designed to deliver you these things in life. Too many crackpots keep waiting for a jackpot. It doesn't work that way. And he said, athletes train 15 years for 15 seconds of performance. Go ask them, did they get lucky?
Yeah.
Now, I can share a little bit from my own life. I was born in a business family. We had coal mines, close to 1,000 people working for us. But the mines were nationalized. The government took over. And right from being a mine owner, we came on the street. Street means street. Some families had money, our family did not. My father had died when I was just about finishing college, and we were left with the liabilities and the assets were gone. And I was married just 4 weeks then. I remember a year later, I sold some of the last piece of my mother's jewelry to get my daughter released from the hospital. I did not have $10 to buy milk that night.
Okay.
Then I tried my hands on 3 businesses with no money, and I failed in all 3. Finally, I left India in 1975, November 13th. Went to Toronto initially, and since I'm not that educated, I started life with a bucket in my hand, washing cars door to door. For about 1.5 to 2 years, I was washing cars on the street. And totally by accident, I got into selling life insurance, where my manager called me within 3 months to fire me for non-performance. So one after the other, there was failure all the time. And when that happened, I told my manager, I said, look, how do you expect performance out of me? I'm not an educated person. I'm not a doctor, engineer, attorney, accountant. I'm a BCom 3rd division. I failed my 10th. That's my academics. And I said, I got a handicap. The moment I said that, Sahil, that day he spoke very harshly to me, and I'm glad he did. And later on I realized it was not anger, it was concern. And he said to me, you shut up and listen to me. He shouted at me. And he said, you don't have a handicap, you have a bad attitude. And he said, it is people like you who not only ruin their own lives, but they also ruin their family's life too. And you know what he said? He said, do you know who has a handicap in life? The doctor, engineer, attorney, accountant, they all have handicaps. I said, boy, I never heard that one. How do they have handicaps? He said, go check out all over the world. They all have chosen the field they are stuck. Okay. Generally true. Exceptions different.
Right.
He said, they're all stuck. He said, you haven't chosen your field. Don't you see the world is open to you? I said, Joe, I never thought from that point of view. He said, now that you're fired, he said, you got all the time to think. He said, leave my office. I left his office that day.
Okay.
But you see, that evening, there was a program by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, the man who wrote the book Power of Positive Thinking. I had to pay $39, which I didn't have. I attended the program. There were 1,000 people. And Dr. Peale, as he came in, he looked at everybody and he said, it appears you people are sitting so cool, calm, collected. Nobody has a problem here. Does anyone have a problem here? No, who doesn't have a problem? So everybody raised their hand. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of their problems? Again, everybody raised their hand. Then Dr. Peale said, while I was coming here, I came across a place where I saw some people lying down, totally relaxed, comfortable, cool. They had no problem whatsoever. How many people would like to know where that place is? Again, everybody raised their hand. And then Dr. Peale said, 2 blocks away from here, there is a cemetery. There are people lying there, totally cool, comfortable, relaxed. They have no problem whatsoever. Then he asked, how many people would like to get rid of their problem? Nobody raised their hand. Everybody put their hand in their pocket. That day, Dr. Peale said, remember, problem is a sign of life. So long as we are alive, we shall have problems. The day we don't have problems, we'd be dead. And then that day, he said, we cannot solve all our problems, but we can handle them.
We can handle.
That day he gave a prayer, which is called the Serenity Prayer, which you might have heard before. I'll say that once in English and once in Hindi. And then, in my opinion, that was the crux of life. And since that day to today, I never leave my home without the prayer. I've come across so many difficulties in between. This prayer has really, really helped me. It goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, and courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. Look at this, if you analyze and dissect it, God grant me the serenity. हिंदी में कहता हूँ एक बार, परमात्मा मुझे संतुलन दो, जो मैं बदल नहीं सकता आपकी सौगात समझ के स्वीकार करूं, और अगर बदल सकता हूं तो मुझे इतनी सुबुद्धि और सुबुद्धि दो कि ये इतनी हिम्मत और हौसला दो कि मैं उसे बदल दूं, और इतनी सुबुद्धि दो कि उनमें फर्क बता सकूं, क्या बदल सकता हूं और क्या मैं नहीं बदल सकता. Now if you analyze, is everything within our control? Answer is no. Can we mold and manipulate everything to suit ourselves? Answer is no. There are many things beyond us, such as, I didn't choose my parents, neither did you. I didn't decide where I was going to be born, neither did you. And some people are born deformed. And sometimes bad things do happen to good people for no fault of their own. What wrong did they do? Who knows? So what I cannot change, let me accept it graciously, not grudgingly. Because many times in life, We keep fighting the things that we just cannot change, and we bring stress into our lives, and we become paralyzed, and we become unproductive. And that destroys us. And if I cannot change, let me accept it graciously. If I can change, then give me the courage to do it. And wisdom to know the difference what I can and what I cannot. Now, when I wrote my book, You Can Achieve More, I came with an extension of this thought. And I wrote in the book, life is full of choices and life is full of compromises. Seems like a contradiction, but not really. See, if I ill-treat you, I've chosen to be ill-treated, haven't I? If I treat you with discourtesy, I've chosen to be treated with discourtesy, haven't I? If I light up a cigarette, I've chosen to invite cancer, haven't I? And if I exercise every day, I've chosen to invite good health, haven't I?
Yeah.
And if I eat too much every day, I've chosen to be obese, haven't I? And see, look at this. If I tell lies, I have chosen to lose my credibility, haven't I? Look, life, if I drink and drive, I've chosen to invite an accident, haven't I?
Yeah.
See, life is full of choices. But you know, Sahil, the next sentence is very crucial. We are all free to the point of choice. But after we make our choices, the choice controls the chooser. We have no more choice. Now, how is life full of compromises? As somebody said, well, in life we cannot choose the cards that are dealt to us. What we can choose is how we play the game. And sometimes nature gives us a lemon. The choice is ours. Do we cry or do we make lemonade? That's our choice. And now, sometimes, especially the press people ask me, Mr. Khera, people who are successful, don't they make mistakes? And people who fail, don't they do positive things in life? And my answer is that people who are successful, they do make mistakes. But remember, making a mistake once in a while does not bring failure.
Right.
Repeating the same mistake again and again is what brings failure. And doing something positive once in a while does not bring success either. Doing the same positive thing again and again is what brings success. Now, let me bring back the point of you can win related that you started with the question. See, I went back to my manager after I got fired. And I said, Joe, give me one more shot. Give me one more shot. Because if you fire me today, I don't know where to go. And the only place I know where to go is go back to washing cars. And I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I got a family to support. I have a little daughter. I make one commitment to you. I won't let you down because of my effort. He looked at me and he said, Shiv, that's not your small one, that's your big one. And he said, I'll let you stay here only if you make a commitment, not to me, but to yourself. I'll let you stay. Now, that day I made a commitment. He withdrew the papers. And that year I went ahead, sold close to $1 million. Next year, 3 million. Year after, 5 million. Moved on to the US. I got into 3 businesses. I bought out a company out of California in 1984. Started the New Jersey operation with no clients, and I sold my company with close to 500 clients for a decent sum. Now, why do I share my life with you? You see, I kept failing all my life and kept blaming the whole world for my failure, not realizing that I was my own biggest problem. Nothing changed outside, but something changed inside, and the direction my life changed. And my big question to you and your audience is, aren't we our own biggest problem? Now, I just shared with you, most people want to win, but very few people are willing to pay the price to prepare to win. Michael Phelps practiced 10,000 hours in 4 years. Am I willing to do it? Are you willing to do it? If you and I practice 10,000 hours in 4 years, you and I can compete at the Olympics. Bruce Lee, his one leg was shorter than the other by 1 inch. His eyesight was -10, but he practiced 5,000 punches per day. Are you willing to do it? Am I willing to do it? If you and I do it, we can be legends too. But we don't want to do it. See, we all want to succeed, but we don't want to pay the price to prepare to succeed. And the second lesson that I learned was, when my manager said to me, "You shut up and listen," I learned that sometimes in life, you got to be unkind to be kind. Remember, parenting, leadership is not a popularity contest. And the third lesson I learned was that all our appointments were made 1 week in advance. Now, if you don't have appointments made 1 week in advance, and if you wake up in the morning and you start thinking, let me see what I have to do today, you are unemployed with a job. And I address maybe 100, 200,000 people every year. And I find more than 90% people don't have appointments made 1 week in advance. Now, you don't need a PhD for this.
Correct.
And then the next lesson that I learned was, which is the most important thing, which is not being taught in schools and colleges anywhere in the world. And that's one thing I would highly, highly recommend that you ought to bring in. See, I was on 100% commission. I wouldn't get any money if I didn't sell, and I had no money. But I saw in my company, there were some people who were getting salaries, and they were not doing the job. Sahil, that's the time I learned the difference between making money versus earning money. Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. Making money is criminal, earning money is spiritual. What is the difference? When you earn it, you put your energy and ethics behind it. And sadly today, most people want to make money, very few want to earn it. And that is the key, which I think is missing today. So people are getting out of schools and colleges with a certificate, and that's about it. It's a piece of paper. They are unprepared to face the world, and that is sad.
I very confidently and passionately believe that we will be able to learn from what you just said and be able to implement it in a university like ours. You beautifully put that you can win is more like an attitude. It's a habit that we develop over time, and the way education system is today, spoon feeding the students or making them kind of cognitively weak, as if the world is just available for them to benefit from, rather than putting the responsibility onto the students to put in that effort. You see 10,000 hours over 4 years. I think that's the kind of spark we want to create in a young student, so that they have this habit, this mindset of winning, which is like continuously moving on from our failures and not letting our failures dominate us.
Sahil, have you ever thought that there is no winning without a failure?
Yeah.
There is no winning.
Correct.
And sadly today, as parents, teachers, we keep teaching two words to our children. Two words, success and win, success and wins. But you see, we never teach them how to fail and how to lose. But life always does not go up like this.
Correct.
It goes down also.
Handling failure is a very important thing to know.
But you see, they have never learned that part of life. They've only been taught how to succeed and how to win. But failure is a reality.
Correct.
When we fail or lose, they go into deep depressions, they commit suicide.
I agree.
There are major, major issues, especially during the pandemic. I addressed the NHS in UK, and especially there was huge issues on depression. Now, I am not a highly educated person, and these are 200 doctors I was addressing, medical doctors, they're scientists. I said, what is the matter? Why do you, no, we want you to motivate them. I said, look, it should be the other way around. They should be motivating us. But he said, no, Mr. Khera, we want you to address. I looked at it. I did research. And I found that 40% of medical doctors suffer from depression. 17% of them thought of committing suicides. I mean, can you imagine academics? They're great professionals. But we need to understand making a living versus how to live is a big, two different things. We need to learn how to live. And that is where today
Yeah.
our education system has failed.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is an extremely important point of learning how to fail. And recently, such a series of sad news of suicides. So I belong to IIT, and just 2 days ago there was a suicide at the IIT Delhi campus inside the hostel. We are seeing suicides in Kota. So there are suicides while people are preparing for getting in. There are suicides while people are in. So there is a fundamental need to tell people on being comfortable with failure and learning from it and moving towards winning.
But you know what the thing is? One thing is that they confuse failing as failure. I might have failed, but that doesn't mean I'm a failure.
I'm a failure, yeah.
I might have been fooled, but that does not mean I'm a fool. So we need to understand exactly how it is. And especially when you talked about the IITians, probably 10 million, 20 million people
Prepare for
it, and only 10,000 are selected, something like that. I don't know. The numbers are pretty minuscule.
Correct.
Now, out of 10, 20 million, only 10,000 are picked. That means they are the cream. They are intellectually very strong, great IQs, but they also have the highest suicide rates, emotionally weak. But today, all over the world, go check out good leadership and others who are succeeding today. They are all people with high emotional strength. High emotional strength. Relationships last only because of high emotional strength. People who are emotionally weak, they don't have good relationships either. You can't trust them. You know why emotionally weak people? They're whimsical people. They're moody people. All sugar and honey to you today, and they have to catch your throat tomorrow. Imbalanced people. Can you trust imbalanced people? Answer is no. So who is teaching this stuff? And sadly, it's missing.
Correct.
It's not there.
It's not there.
My kids went to US, did their masters. They're not teaching there. I had people go through our program. The managing director of Hewlett Packard, many other people, some who have gone through Oxford and ISB. They said, Mr. Khera, we never learned all this stuff there. And they are on video. They have named institutions there. So anyway, that is where we come in, and
I totally agree. I think this is the vacuum in education, and together we can fill this void that is there, in bringing up the next generation. Extremely valid points that you just shared. Thank you so much, sir. It was a real pleasure to have this conversation. Each sentence is like a pearl of wisdom. And I'm sure that the students, the teachers, the educators who watch this, the parents, everyone will benefit from. And we as a university, would like to pursue our commitment in providing, these finer aspects of life, of wisdom, of you said how to live rather than how to make a living. A very fine difference between the two. And I think collectively we can benefit the next generation. Thank you so much, sir.